It is now my privilege to welcome our guest speaker for the day, Brother Harish Mirpuri. Brother Harish was fortunate to be handpicked to join Swami School in Urti in 1980, and he continued to study there at the Lotus Feet for his undergraduate degree in Vrindavan. He also thereafter completed his master's in business administration in Puttaparthi. During his student days, he was part of the Prashanti Mandir music group, where he had the opportunity to participate in several music programs. He plays both the harmonium and the accordion, and was picked by Swami to accompany eminent musicians such as the legendary Pandit Bhimsen Joshi. As well as this, he was an active participant in sports events and dramas presented in front of Swami, and was also blessed by Swami to accompany him to Chennai, Ooty, and Kodaikanal, each of which has been an experience for life. After completing his studies, as instructed by Swami, Brother Harish joined his family business in Indonesia and subsequently, on Swami's command, returned to India to set up a factory in Bangalore. Swami was involved in all aspects of this factory, in giving it the name of Sai Lakshmi Industries, in guiding the construction, and later inaugurating the factory. The family has also been immensely blessed to be the chosen instruments to set up the music college, which bears the name of Sri Satya Sai Mirpuri College of Music. Now he will share his thoughts with us today on the subject, how to be Swami's child, something I am sure we all aspire and pray to be. Brothers and sisters, please welcome Brother Harish Mirpuri.
To all of you, my loving salutations at our beloved Swami's feet. I always offer my gratitude to my parents who have brought me, guided me to him, encouraged me to follow his teachings all my life. And my gratitude to you all to embark on and create such an enigmatic environment over here filled with so much of love for Swami. It was just a beautiful experience to have been here. And I pray that Swami guides me through to speak what he wishes to convey to all of us today. One small alap of a bhajan reminds me whenever I speak. It goes like, Har pal har kshana bhool kare hum pag pag thokar kaaye ek pag aage do pag piche sai tum tak kaise paaye karuna sagar parama dayalu sai. Sometimes as we walk through our lives, right from the good old childhood days with Swami, so many times we move forward, we get banged behind 2 steps, and sometimes we always wonder, how do we reach you? How do we just be there? How do we spend that every moment at your feet, feeling the beauty of that feet of yours? And my journey has been blessed to experience many, many such wonderful memories. And it all started when, when we talk of Christmas, I first met Swami, 1979, I'd got a seat at Lovedale School. Always been a childhood dream for me and for my mother that, that I study in India. Those days, we hail from Indonesia, born there. My father shifted after the partition between India and Pakistan. And, we always felt that the education in Indonesia in those days was not up to the mark. So the best way is to study in India, to understand what India is about, not to be a foreigner, though living in a foreign country, but to understand and gather the values. So Swami, we were very fortunate in our first trip itself. Swami gave us a lot of interviews. And in the first interview, I remember 40 minutes. The entire family, we have 5 siblings together, my father, my mother. Full 40 minutes, not a word from our mouth, only tears. We didn't know what magic was there. What happened that for full 40 minutes, 5 plus 2, 7 people sitting in interview room couldn't say anything to Swami, and Swami is looking at us, laughing, and says, if you all keep crying, what will I speak to you? But I'm glad we cried. I'm very happy we cried for the full 40 minutes because he gave us Vibhuti and said, okay, tomorrow I'm calling you again and don't cry on that day. So I guess the crying had its worth that we got another opportunity with Swami. And during that interview, very quickly, I still remember as a child, we always loved Indian sweets, right? The mawa amongst us Sindhis, that's like a favorite sweet. And not asking whether we are Sindhis, what we are, Swami in all his omnipresence rotates his hand and bang, came a huge amount, endless amount of the mawa cake and gave us all. No chance to cry. We were relishing that sweet. We were just astounded by Swami's love, by the way he quickly gave us that, and he said he ate. I mean, imagine how beautiful that sweet is that till today I can relish that taste. But such is the love of Swami. And he looks at my mother and says, Meera, tumhara naam Meera hai na? And my father, we are human beings, so he quickly corrects Swami. Swami, naam hai Geeta, Meera nahi hai. Swami looks back at him with authority, and I still remember this scene, and said, Shaadi se pehle kya naam hai? And it's very true. My mother's maiden name was Meera. And we were all dumbfounded. Here is Swami, never asked our background, never asked our names, calls her. And simply, he said, Meera, tum acha gati hai. Gao ek bhajan. None of us ever told Swami we sing bhajans. My father sings a lot in the Gurdwara, and my mother was the one who encouraged us as children to go to Bal Vikas in those days. And we learnt bhajans, and she is indeed a wonderful singer. She's always been the one's inspiration for us as children to learn to sing, to play harmonium, to play accordion, to play organ, tabla, whatever we could. But that is Swami's immense power. And telling this beautiful devotee of his that I hear you when you sing, therefore I know. Without having to announce, in all his humility, in all his grandness, and yet in that absolute magical love. I can't describe Swami's love in any other way. I don't know how to compare it to. But it's so pure, so dense, and yet so intense that he recognizes the true spirit of that little devotee of his and just says, sing it to me. You have sung so many times to my picture, but I've been hearing it. You can sing it. My mother was flooded with tears. She had this opportunity to sing a bhajan to Swami, and that struck us, that struck me a lot. That as a kid, wow, how did he know it? It just was a very strong impression that how did he know this? And of course, it went on. He related all our life incidents in that interview to all of us. We were listening to our own history, spoken by Swami. Practically each one of us, our thoughts, our wishes, we were just sitting and listening. And then Swami asked me, किधर जाता है education के लिए? I said, Swami, Lovedale मिला. Lovedale, अच्छा, हमारा स्कूल ऊटी में. अच्छा, तुम ऊटी जाओ. So I was a little confused. Is Lovedale by Swami, owned by Swami? And then, in all his kindness, he told Ram Brahmam sir what to do, what to tell us. We came back again. Swami said, January, tum aao. I'll give you more details. We came in January, he gave us great details. He told us to come back in the month of May, and we came. And Swami sends us to Ooty school. He says, I'm coming there, you go there. So we went, didn't know where Swami's school is, but we were well guided. Swami booked the taxi. And he said, I've already arranged a place for you all to stay. I still remember, we loved that hotel. Swami booked us in a hotel called Das Prakash. We in those days, we are from Indonesia, we loved dosas, and we were just feeling great about, a place that served great dosas, idlis. And Swami comes in, and I remember meeting Mother, the principal in Ooty. We always called her Mother. Mrs. Verma, she used to be in Canada, and then Swami called her to serve him. Swami, she told me, which grade did you say you're going to? I said, 6th grade, Mother. But we don't have 6th grade. I said, but Swami said to study here. She said, okay, I have to figure out what to do. I said, Swami said he's coming. Really? She asked. I haven't got that information. So we were like, no, Swami is coming. And that evening she got a call that Swami is coming in 2 days, 3 days time. And Swami had booked us for 4 days in the hotel. Pretty well sure, knowing that he's coming there. And Swami loves giving surprises. Such lovely surprises to one and all. Swami comes to Ooty, calls us and said, क्या तुम स्कूल में नहीं गया? स्वामी, मदर ने बोला कि 6th grade यहाँ पर नहीं है. And then the words Swami used till now still strikes a chord. He calls us for the interview. Then he tells me, hey boy, idhar aao. So I come close to Swami sitting in his beautiful chair. And he says, क्या स्वामी के लिए तुम 5th standard repeat कर सकता है? I mean, here we call the Father in heaven. All he had to do was to give a simple command, but knows that through that kind of command, probably this little sheep won't understand, goes down to the level of the sheep just to tell him to join his school. What greater love and mercy can anyone or me have experienced than that? All you had to do, ठीक है, तुम फिर 5th standard करो. None of us would have said no. None of us would have said, oh, what is this? I'm going to miss a year. We didn't care. By then we were already in love with the love song he was showering, But the word he used, क्या स्वामी के लिए तुम 5th standard repeat कर सकता है? we were all in tears. I think Swami has this amazing ways to bring us to tears too, through his immense love. And that was the beginning of a beautiful life. That was really a moment where, and then he looks at mother, देखो, ये boy फिर 5th standard शुरू करता है. Right, sorry about that. Yeah, just going back a bit of translation. If feel free if something is not heard to us also later, if not understood to us later. But Swami, in that was what he asked me in Hindi. In English, he said, "For my sake, will you repeat the 5th grade?" For kya mere liye, with like it's literally for my sake. I mean, we would do anything for his sake, and that is the beauty of Swami. The beginning of a really beautiful journey where so much he taught in those blissful 14 years that I spent as a student, and I still believe I'm one, because every day I seem to learn. Like today I learned all the beautiful meanings. I love decorating my Christmas tree too. Thank you, because today next time I decorate the Christmas tree, I'll put in mind everything that you have taught me. And that's the beauty of Swami. Whenever you come to any of his places, any of the centers, there's always something new to learn. And in that spirit, I joined the school. Swami looks at mother and says, "Look, he has agreed to join 5th standard." I mean, this is what Swami, the Father in heaven, the greatest of all universe, can stoop himself down so that he carries with us. It's not so that he lowers. Swami never lowers or increases. There's no such thing. Swami is beyond that. He just knows from which level he needs to hold our hand. That's all. He stretches himself out. And he tells mother, now he would have done a lot of your subjects, so give him work. Let him do purchase work. Let him do any other work that is required for the hostel. That was the biggest blessing, because I got involved in so many activities in the hostel. It was like a license to do almost many things. Written, signed by Swami. It was like a nice blank check he gave. But because of that, I was allowed to participate. Nanjan uncle, late Radha Krishna's father, was the main person who would do all the purchases. And that was the first time I heard, I'm lucky that Swami put me in a class which had an amazing batch of students. We were the first batch from Ooty. And that was the first time I heard our dear Ravi, Ravi Kumar, singing Manna Nalum. It was a very Tamil-oriented song. I didn't understand, but the bhajan was so beautiful, so beautiful. And Swami is just standing there, standing throughout the bhajan, listening, and I felt, wow, that means the way to reach Swami is through music. It was a very simple thought that came. Wow, the way to get Swami to stand in front of you and get to be able to touch his feet is through music. Since then I said, let me try that route. We were shifted to, in our 6th grade, because Ooty didn't have a 6th grade and it didn't increase the number of classes. We were shifted to Puttaparthi for our 6th grade. And because we were the first batch, we were fortunate to be the first batch. Swami took care of every need. We were moved into the boys' hostel, the big boys, where all the college boys were there. At that time, there was no primary school. So we were moved over there, and Swami came personally. He would look into ensuring that we got good rooms. Swami would check the bathrooms himself. Every alternate day, Swami would drive down into the hostel, go down, check the bathrooms, and that's how particular Swami was. That's how he built the DNA of Puttaparthi, because he inculcated that. He ensured that at every point people understood the importance of everything. Swami would check every corner. If there's a spider web, he would be not so happy about it. And so cleanliness stepped up a lot because of the way Swami supervised. And as we started growing, Swami gave us something, even as children, just the minor things of life. I call it minor, but those were the major in those days. Swami would make sure that we used to go for jogging around the field. Like, that was a must. We used to have porridge, ragi porridge or wheat porridge in the hostel, early morning, suprabhatam, then porridge time, and then a compulsory jog. In those days, Swami brought in Habu sir, late Habu sir, as our first principal when the new school opened up after Ishwarama. And Swami used to tell us, he used to send Kasturi uncle to us every Thursday to tell us experiences. But Swami used to tell this one important point. He was very insistent that all the boys participated in as many activities as possible, especially in sports. And the main reason Swami would tell us is that a healthy mind can only exist in a healthy body. And Swami has such a beautiful way of teaching things. And Swami will look at us, he will explain in the most simplest ways. We were kids, 7th standard, 8th standard, then 9th. You can't really speak so technically to us, right? So we had to be taught in the most simple ways. And Swami said, what will you do if you live in a house that has leakages everywhere, that has dirt everywhere? What will happen to those who live inside? Sick, straight away. So also, if we are not careful with the way we sustain our body through exercising, you will be sick. This isn't really technical or difficult for us kids. And so we just ran. Every day we ran because we didn't want to be sick. And that is the beauty. Here is Bhagwan who can chant any verse from any language. I've had the pleasure of hearing Swami speaking to people, groups from Argentina in their language, to Spanish people in their language, to people from Indonesia in their language. I've heard Swami speaking. I've had the audacity once to think, Swami speaks English in a slightly funny accent, And on that one particular occasion, Swami calls me for an interview with an amazing philosopher from Cambridge. And Swami he didn't speak to me. I was sitting down right beside his chair, and I only listened to Swami speaking in pure Cambridge English with amazing accent for 1.5 hours. And at the end of the interview, I was just trying to figure out what is my role in this whole thing. I didn't even understand some of the levels at which they were talking. And my God, I hope I'm not asked anything, because I would know I wouldn't be able to reach this level of conversation. At the end of it, Swami looks at me and said, Kyara, kaisa hai mera English? My dear, how was my English? That was all. All Swami could have done. I know you criticize my English. I know you could have done, you shouldn't criticize. And nothing, by absolute example. And it just means that this beautiful God, this beautiful Swami, knows whom to reach at what level and when. That's the power that Swami is always about. You know, there was another time as I moved on in my 12th grade, Swami calls me. You know, Swami calls me two ways. Swami used to call me. If it's Chota Puri, it's a good time. If it's Indonesia, it'll be a little careful. Something is up. So that day he called me and said, "Hey, Chota Puri, idhar aao." I said, "Okay, good time." And Swami is standing near the VIPs, so I felt like, oh, some privileged situation coming up. Then Swami asked me, "Who am I?" You know, in front of all the VIPs, I'm sure that day, you know, with police around, there must have been some major VIPs sitting and all that. So I thought my job was to please Swami by saying the right perfect, what's that absolute perfect sentence that I should say so that people will give a thunderous clap to that answer and say, what a brilliant answer. So I said, very in that kind of emotion and pride, I said, "Swami, you are God." Swami said, "Who am I?" So I thought maybe I wasn't loud enough and it should be heard better. So I said, "Swami, you are God." "Kya raha?" He said, "You say it like you don't even believe it." You know, I think I fell down, I don't know how many meters down at that point of time. Then he said, "Don't say it because you want to make an impression. Say it because you believe it. Believe it because you experience it." I was stunned. I was like a stone frozen over there. Here I am, I thought I had to do a performance. But that is not Swami. He doesn't expect performances. He does not expect anyone else to show. Even if we are his students, even if we are his child, there can be no performances. That is not why he came to this world. He expects us to experience it. It's like swimming. Many people will wonder, how's the water? How's the water? How is the water? Is it cold? Can we go in? Is it warm enough? And we can describe that in the most magnificent ways, probably using the best of terms, but it means nothing if we don't go inside. We don't know what swimming is about. And that is exactly Swami is trying to tell us. And at that point of time, at that age that I was, Swami is trying to tell me, you've been here long enough. You need to jump now into the water and experience. And then decide if you're God. Swami didn't stop at that. Swami said, "So are you." In a very amazing tone, he said, "So are you." So are you. Means, you are also a God. Difference is, I know I am God, you don't know. You know, it was a full wrap-up for me. In my mind, I said, wow, I'm sure at that point of time, I realized I didn't have that absolute faith that He is my God. I said it, and I said it, and I kept saying it. But did I really accept it? And at that point of time, I said, I have to experience you. And from the next day, after all the beautiful moments I had, Swami stopped talking. Swami didn't speak the balance of 12th grade. And for me, that's terrible because board exam. We are so, pardon me, I don't know the English word, but I call it matlabi. I mean, we use Swami for fulfilling our desires or our hopes. And I was scared. Oh, what will happen to my board exam if Swami doesn't talk to me and I don't actually get pranam? The pranam was not for my evolution. It was for me to do well in my board exam. I was limiting Swami's grace to that level. And Swami was there to teach me this beautiful lesson. He just didn't talk. I had no clue what to do. Suddenly, I became the boy. Don't sit beside him because Swami is not likely to move near him. From so many years as a child, as the person, okay, give him a sweet because Swami might talk to him, to be the boy you should avoid because Swami might be avoiding that. And in the most beautiful, loving way, Swami can grace you and you are non-existent. That was probably the most amazing time today if I look back at what Swami did to me. And till Swami made me join Vrindavan campus, which was great. That was the dream, to experience all the campus. And Vrindavan, we know Swami, it is Swami's little playground, because it's not the institute or the chancellor's place. And Swami would be there. And the first half of Vrindavan went without Swami saying a word. But luckily, I was still allowed to play the harmonium. And he sends word, tell him to start singing. Not telling me. He sends word that tell him to start singing bhajan. Sang bhajan, every bhajan, Swami made sure he was not there. Even if he was there, just before I start, somewhere he'll walk out. All that process was going on until I said, enough, It's like, how do I survive this? How do I survive this? I used to talk to my classmates. Again, fortunate, a lot of bhajan singers, great instrument players, tablis in our class. And I used to ask them, how do I do this? I have not heard, even if he shouts at me, blasts me, it's fine. At least he's talking, at least I'm hearing his voice, saying my name, okay. Swami has such a beautiful way of calling me, sometimes Dunnapotu, and I love the way he said it. He might be hanging me. Dunnapotu literally means you buffalo, but it's said in such a way that I fall in love even with that kind of blasting. And I just have no clue. What do I do? And towards first year over, music programs, I was allowed, I was playing. And every time I took namaskar, Swami never took away his feet, but his face goes that way, And I said, wow. Second year, Swami was in Whitefield. I said, yeah, Ravi, will you sing one bhajan? We sort of composed. I composed out of my tears. And, everyone is nervous. Okay, just don't say it's your bhajan or whatever. Could render a problem right now because you're being treated with a very stern stick. And then when the line came, Sai bina jeena kya hai, Sai bina jeena kya hai. Swami's been staring and staring. I had the good fortune, Ravi was singing that, and I was playing harmonium. But Swami is staring and staring and staring at me. I was like, is it really me or is it Ravi? He's very Swami is going to. It was unbelievable experience, And throughout the bhajan, he just stared at me. Then there was one line, माता भी तू, पिता भी तू, आओ भगवन दीजो darshan. At that time we sang mat jao sai man mandir se. And at that line, when Ravi sang that, Swami looks at me and said, he just did that. I had tears. I really had tears. And then Swami looks at me after the bhajan, he gets up to do arti. He looks at me and says, feel me always inside. Those many months was to make me feel what love is about, how precious that love is, how beautiful that love is, how intense that love is. And to me, it's funny because I tell my parents, my God, I leave you all, go to Swami, and I don't miss you all. Is it unkind? Or is the love so powerful? Is that the meaning when Swami says, this is the love of 1,000 mothers? I don't know whether it's 1,000, whether it's 1,000,000, I don't know how to quantify. But even 10 years after Swami took Samadhi, you still can feel it. It's that powerful. And in such simple ways, Swami has taught us. Sometimes, maybe I always say, Swami, you didn't make big mantras, Maybe we would have listened more because you said, love all, serve all. It became so simple that we didn't learn it. You taught us in such simple ways that we decided it is too simple. It's like, when you get free food too many times, you don't value the food. But when you pay, you go to maybe St. Regis or you go somewhere and you pay £100 for your meal, you say it's tasty because, wow, it really pinched you hard. So it better be tasty. Sometimes we humans are so funny that we react in such ways. But what I've seen about Swami is that the only thing Swami does, and many people say Swami expect, I really believe Swami doesn't expect. I truly believe that. I mean, what is he going to gain? If we learn to love, what is he going to gain? He could just leave everything without crying, without saying. But that's because he didn't leave. He doesn't gain, he doesn't leave. It's all him. And we are not able to see that might. We are not able to see that amazing persona. The Father in heaven. And that's what he simply tries to tell us. Towards the end of our MBA, once Swami asked us after a beautiful long speech, and sometimes we students, we take it also a little bit for granted. We move around our legs a little too long. Do you think Swami is going to end in 15 minutes? And then when the bhajan comes, we are in full flow because it would have been the end. And then very nicely, one of my classmates, Swami asked, how's the speech today? Did you all understand? So one of my classmates said, Swami, since Ooty days, we've heard the same things. I said, okay, the rest of us were shocked that comment came. I was sitting pretty much behind, didn't want another round of 1 year of not being talked to. But he said it out of his heart. And Swami appreciated that. Swami said, yes, I do it so that it enters your subconscious. Every time you take an act, you will remember my voice speaking on that particular topic. Anything you do, you will always remember. So even in your sleep, if you sleep during the speech, and we thought we were very clever, hide behind a tall student, try to get a dose for 15 minutes, until one day I stood up and chanted Vedas right beside Swami, and then I realized, my God, all those who are trying can be easily seen, But we are foolish people, that's all I say. And here Swami is telling, even when you sleep, because you keep hearing, it enters your subconscious. That's the beauty of satsang. That's why this Thursdays or Sundays are grouping once a week, so that we recollect every word of his, so that during the week that we act. When we eat, we act. When we speak, when we conduct our activities, perhaps Swami will be speaking to us. And at that point of time, another classmate of mine said, Swami, we can't do meditation. How do we even connect with you all the time once we leave ME? Swami gave the most practical, beautiful answer, which I took it only after Swami took Samadhi, because till then we could have access to Swami. And Swami gave a beautiful answer. He says, very simple. When you wake up, say good morning Swami or Sai Ram Swami. When you go and brush your teeth, say, Swami, I'm going to brush my teeth. After that you're going to have coffee or tea, say, Swami, I'm going to have coffee. After coffee, say, Swami, I'm going for my exercise. Then say, Swami, I'm going for my breakfast. Then say, I'm going for my work, Swami. He says, what is meditation? Is being in constant connection to God. And through this exercise, you're always talking to me. You're constantly connecting yourself to me. Again, very simple, which many of us didn't follow. We didn't pay the £100 bill for this. It didn't pinch us. It pinched us very badly only after he took Samadhi. These are the ways of Swami. That's why I sometimes look at myself and say, ek pag aage, do pag piche. Tum tak kaise pao? But then the answer lies in that paragraph. Karuna Sagar. He is that embodiment. He is that absolute embodiment. And because he is an embodiment of that divine love, he calls all of us as that. Prema Swarupulara. The word he uses whenever he addresses anyone is Prema Swarupulara. And continuously being his child is just constantly reminding ourselves. And for those of you who have been in my age, in Swami's time, just try this for 1 week. It will change your life. Get up in the morning, say Sai Ram Swami, say good morning Swami. Just before every activity you do, just tell Swami what you're doing. Don't be worried. Swami, I'm going to have a glass of wine. Yeah. Swami will tell you yes or no. Swami will tell you over a period of time, he will start speaking to you. And you'll not realize that he's speaking. You'll think, oh, why am I thinking like this? Why am I this? Because you and he are not separate. You and he cannot be separate. The only purpose we form ourselves as human beings is to evolve. That's all. There's no other purpose. The only purpose of experiencing being a daughter, a son, being a mother, or being a father, or being a grandfather, or being a teacher, a businessman, is the evolution of the soul. So one of the best ways for us to do is just keep informing Swami, and you'll be surprised. And we need to take that swim, really put our legs and body inside the water and try it. Give yourself the opportunity to hear his name, to hear him speaking to all of you, to all of us. And to me, that is the biggest gift we can give ourselves. Because for Swami, it doesn't matter. All of us at some point will evolve. How fast we evolve is up to us. It's not up to anyone of us else. All our journeys are individual journeys. Individual journeys with God. One Swami told my father, you play your role as father. What goes on between him and me is between him and me. Nobody should come in between. And that is true with all our lives. Your wife can't come in between you and Swami. Neither as a husband you can come between. Even if you think you are, it's impossible. Because that power we don't realize. That power is absolute. And with that, I thank you all for this wonderful opportunity. Amazing bhajans. I enjoy beautiful bhajans. Well accomplished instrumentalists over here. Such a beautiful time together. And I'm sure Swami will be with us every single moment, be it Christmas, be it New Year's. And let us celebrate every single day, telling Swami whatever we wish and whatever we do. Sai Ram.
Thank you, Brother Harish, for coming here today and sharing your beautiful experiences with Swami. I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say we all thoroughly enjoyed hearing your stories, hearing the words Swami has spoken with you and resonated with you, and I'm sure they'll stay with all of us too. So thank you once again.